everybody, it's Brian. Welcome to Chiller Night Live. Renee is here right off the bat. Let's see, Renee says, somber greetings, Chiller Night Theater Escape Room creators, Jack Shadow, Bryan Hogue, happy live. Carne asada el pastor, carnitas, taco terror, bacon cheeseburger with grilled onions Tuesday. Rest in peace, BB Resco. Is that your cat you were talking about? Well, we are happy that you made it here tonight, and hopefully we can give you a good pleasant hour of high spirits. Tom says, good evening all. Hey Tom, thanks for joining us. I actually wasn't sure if I was going to have the show tonight or make it here on time. I just came from speaking of somber, we had a vigil in the community park here in Harrisville for our mayor. He had passed away just Saturday, and now most of you are not from this area, so you don't know him, but those in the area definitely would know Gary Hughes, the mayor of Harrisville. So, like I said, he passed away Saturday, and he was very, he and his wife, Marianne, they're our neighbors actually, but they were very instrumental and very supportive in us having the Harrisville Haunted House for the years that we did at the community park. So just always remember him just showing up out of the blue to help out, in whatever way he could, lifting up, help me lift wall panels or boards or whatever, holding walls in place while I'm working on them, and he and his wife in there painting the first year's haunt. So good man. We're definitely going to miss him. But I was at a vigil. Just got in and got sat down here in front of the computer to do this. So, but I want to thank everybody for joining me and each other tonight. SBC says hello, everyone. Or John Wayne says hello, everyone. Hey, SBC. D says good evening, everyone. Good evening, D. Thanks for joining us. Well, yes, yeah, that was a very nice event put together by the community at the pavilion there at the community park. So that just, yeah, it was a shock. It really was. But let's see now. What I posted just yesterday was the witching hour. Now before, I used to always say, now it says book now, well, you can't. Well, now you can. The Witching Hour Escape Room opens at the Chiller Night Escape Experience next week on June 14th. So online booking is now available. So if you are living in the area and you want to book Witching Hour or Zombie Outbreak, and I'll mention all this stuff as the show goes on, but I wanted to mention that. That's kind of a big deal. I've been working for a long time to get that up and running. And then at the end of this month, we'll be starting in on the modifications for Jack Shadow's House of Terror. So a lot going on chiller-wise. Al says, hi everyone, it's Chiller Night. Hey Al, thanks for joining us. And thanks again for sending me the copy of your book. I haven't got to it yet. I'll be honest, I haven't got to it yet, but that's very nice of you to think of me and to send me a copy. I'll try to get to that as soon as I can. That's cool that you did that. Bobby says, first show, Renee scouted me. Oh, thank you for joining us, Bobby. Well, welcome to Chiller Night Live. I hope you have a pleasant hour. I hope all of us do. I'm sure we will. Now, John says, it's Tuesday night, and what goes well with Taco Tuesday? If you said Chiller Night, give yourself some extra guacamole. And once again, it's time again for Chiller Night. This is Crozak the Grand. And now, here he is, our host, Grande. Bryan Hogue. Well, thank you, Crozak the Grand and John. So, always appreciate your stellar intros. Renee says, "Hey, OMG, it's Bobby, the horror UFO Enigma. What is happening, my UFO world community creature features fam friend? Oh, wow, good to see you. What is going to talk about and all the show grieving still?" I'm sorry to hear that, Renee, but thank you for sending Bobby our way. And Bobby, and all of you who are new, if you're new on here and just coming in and saying, what the heck is going on? What's this Chiller Night Live all about? Well, from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 o'clock, we just sit and chat about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal related. You pick the topic, and by golly, we'll make a show out of it or give it a good, honest effort anyway. So sometimes we have a pre-selected topic. I have been just very, very busy lately this last week, so we didn't have a pre-selected topic. In fact, I just got in here, so I'm whatever we talk about, I'll be just as surprised about it as you are. So Richard says, "Good evening," in my best Dracula voice. All right, I tried to backtrack on that, Richard, and catch up with it. Bobby says, "Nothing new in the UFO world, Renee. Creature Feature went to one movie a week, which is sad." Al says, "You are most welcome. I know you will like it, Brian, being a sci-fi fan." And Bobby's wishing Renee condolences. Richard says, "Best summer release horror movies." Oh, that's a good one. I know we've mentioned this before, but the recent Godzilla and King Kong movie. My beautiful bride is sending me some hearts there, so I love you, baby. Thanks for the hearts. So Stephanie says, "Hey, y'all." Hey, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. Renee says, "You're here, so hopefully my current profusely uncontrollably will slightly diminish since you're here. My very, very good and very awesome UFO horror sci-fi. I'll try talking live, but it's painful, I tell you. You guys lifting up my spirits makes glad to be back, though." Wow, thank you, Renee. We are certainly try to lift your spirits tonight. And we're glad that you're here. Patty says, "Boo! Ho!" All right, Patty. Bounce man. Thanks for joining us. I like that. Best summer drive-in horror movies. Drive-in. Let's set the atmosphere, shall we? All right, here we go. Godzilla -1 on Netflix in English. Oh, that's right. I think I did see that. Godzilla -1. And Renee, is she crying profusely, unconsolably? Well, our thoughts are with you, Renee, and we hope that you have at least a somewhat enjoyable hour. I hope we can give that to you. Let's see. Now, like I said, Tom says, "OMG, Godzilla -1 is on Netflix." Okay. But wait a minute. When did that come out? Was that? I mean, that's not that came out. Did that come out like a year ago, or what was the Kong? Oh my gosh, I'm getting these new movies a little confused here. Plus, I've got a ton of things on my mind I'm trying to sift through right now. Shoot from the hip, as I do mentally the best I can. Okay, now then there's the Kong and Godzilla movie. Now, isn't that, and maybe I'm wrong, I think that's the one that's out right now in the theaters, and then Godzilla -1 is out on Netflix. Okay, I'm thinking it's all coming together now. Let's see. Haven't seen the new Godzilla vs. Kong movie, Renee says. Okay. I have not seen that. I've seen the previous Kong versus Godzilla movie. I remember that was kind of when it came out a few years ago. We were on here kind of anticipating that. And then when it did come on, I remember talking about that here on one of the episodes, and we were trying our best to do that with no spoilers. I think we did a pretty good job, considering you're naturally curious to know who the winner would be in a confrontation such as that, gigantic proportions. Um, Stephanie says there's a Kong and Godzilla from 2021. All right, that's probably the one that. Yeah, that would be the one that we were talking about. 2021. Has it already been 3 years? Wow. Bobby says G1 is Godzilla Minus One is great. Just saw it last night in English. Better than the rest since its effects uses miniatures and CG. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to check that one out. John Wayne says I have now shot the very first scenes of my horror film. I found a great filming location in an abandoned house. Well, SBC, if you ever feel like sharing any of that stuff, I know you've shared a few things here. If you ever feel like sharing anything like that, please do. I think we would be interested to see what you're working on. Although I don't want to put you on the spot. If you don't want to, that's totally understandable. But if you are, I'm just saying, you're obviously welcome to share that. Tom says, like G-1 released last year, December 1st. Is that right? Okay, well that's, wow. And I was going to say, well, that was just a couple months ago. I guess it was, 7 months now, right? I am amazed at how fast the time goes. And I know people hear me as a haunt owner talk about like, I'll be in April like, I gotta get this done. And I know that because of Godzilla Minus One was out 7 months ago already. And just like that. No, it just goes so darn quick. And it's just, wow, somebody help slow us down a little bit. Daniel says, good evening, Brian. Gemma is watching with me. All right, Gemma, thanks for watching. And Daniel, welcome. Dee says, does anyone know if the Cinema of Horrors drive-in is still open in the state of Washington? Now that I could not tell you, Dee. I have no idea. Anybody else know? Anybody from Washington? State of Washington? Renee says, you have to pay for Netflix. That's why I uninstalled it. Daniel says, Gemma is wondering who is Godzilla. Who is Godzilla? Oh, Daniel, you've got to show Gemma some Godzilla movies. What have you been waiting on? Godzilla is a huge, monstrous beast. The king of monsters, Godzilla is. Huge reptilian-looking monstrosity that shoots radioactive fire out of his mouth. I'm not quite sure exactly what that is, but it's very destructive. And occasionally he's a bad guy, a menace, but most of the time he ends up being a good-hearted monster and helps humanity out. What kind of horror movie are you filming, John? Stephanie says. Renee says, hello, SBC John Wayne. How's that going, Pilgrim? I read ahead, so I knew how to say it. Jason says, good evening. Good evening, Jason. Welcome. Bobby says, just saw Killer Clowns has a video game now, which is just like the movie. Kind of cool. Now we have RoboCop, Jason, and Clowns nostalgic video games. I love. That's cool. Now I the only video game I can say I have any knowledge of, I'm not a gamer, so I'm not real familiar with this stuff, is just Resident Evil. I did enjoy. I had the first 3 of them when they came out. That's how long ago. I think we had the Resident Evil 4 on Wi-Fi, or why not Wi-Fi? Wii. Was it a game unit called Wii, I think? We bought it for the bowling and Mario Brothers and stuff, but they had the part 4. I don't remember part 4 though that much, but I do remember 1 through 3. again, just kind of illustrating the point of how far in the past I am with this stuff. I'm definitely not caught up on the video game stuff. So, but that's cool that they have that out. Now, Cheech and Chong 2024. Get your bongs out, Renee says. I try to laugh here. Whatever helps, whatever helps. Jason says, I'm so happy Godzilla -1 is finally out on Netflix. Yeah, gonna have to check that out one of these nights. John says, the one thing that has bothered me the most about the current Monarch Kaiju movies is what happened to the eco-terrorists from Godzilla King of the Monsters. Were they ever caught? Killed? 2 movies and they just vanished. Maybe they'll reappear. You never know. You never know. Yeah, I can't. Not a bad question, though. Renee says, I want a Godzilla versus Ultraman movie. Oh my gosh. I would love to see that. I'm just thinking, I wonder if they would ever, I'm trying to think of, we got Toho and I'm not sure who does, I don't know, would they be able to, I'm sure they would. Why wouldn't they? Come on, make this happen, somebody. Stephanie says, just saw Grandpa Munster's Monster Hits. John Wade said, who would win in a battle, Frankenstein versus Bigfoot? I'd have to say Bigfoot. Because I don't know, my opinion. I know Frankenstein has, enhanced strength. But I would have to think that a Bigfoot would have the strength of, like, okay, let's say he even had the strength of your basic, like, silverback gorilla. That thing is freaking incredibly strong and powerful. Now, what? A silverback gorilla is not really that tall. So now you add the height. Look at the Patterson film. Just look at that thing. And I don't know how tall that thing was. I remember at times knowing and reading. But, let's say that thing is 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall. I don't know. But even that looks like a very powerful thing, creature. And I can only imagine the muscle mass being incredible. Frankenstein's monster, I really don't know the cap of his strength, his physical abilities, so I don't know. Plus, I would okay, even if Frankenstein's monster had strength on it, that thing would, I would imagine, be so much quicker. I mean, I've never seen Frankenstein's monster really move around too fast. So I'm going to have to go to Bigfoot. Be curious to know if anyone else has a different opinion. Maybe some of you do. I'd be curious to hear. That's a good one. Frankenstein versus Bigfoot. Make a really cool movie. Bobby says Resident Evil Light Gun is my favorite. Oh, I've not seen that one. See, again, I'm so far behind on that stuff. Daniel says, I think the Poltergeist 1 and 2 are really good movies. What do you think about them? I like the first one quite a bit. I'll be honest, I've seen the second one, but I don't remember it as well. I hate to say that, hosting a horror-themed show, and but I don't really recall the second one all that much. Not like the first one. The first one I really enjoyed. Renee says, I used to play RoboCop versus Terminator on Sega Genesis. Bobby says, I get lost in the adventure games or stuck, so I like the rail shooter version. Okay. That'd probably be easy to do, get lost in the adventures. Jason says, has anyone seen Hell House LLC and its 3 sequels? Very good movies. Found footage mixed with documentary-style interviews. I think Ava and I saw the first one. I think we did. But I have not seen the sequels. Let's see. D says, I think Bigfoot, more primal yet intelligence than Frankenstein's monster. He was gentle. He was gentle. Sometimes he wasn't, but yeah, I would think that I just don't think that he would have what it takes to, the speed at least, to overpower a Sasquatch. Peep, sorry I'm late, Lasercorn. Hey, there's Laser! Thanks for joining us, Lasercorn. Brad. Hey, Brad, how you doing there? Brad says, hello, Brian, how are you? Are you excited about Dracula and Frankenstein, etc., coming out into the public domain in 2027 and so on? Yes! Yes, that'll be right here before you know it. That's pretty amazing, actually, that all these horror hosts will be able to play the classic Dracula and Frankenstein. That is pretty cool. Like I said, I've just got a feeling we're going to see Jack Shadow hosting his version of Dracula and Frankenstein on an episode of Chiller Night Theater. Even if we got to drag it out as a special. Bobby says, still remember getting my huge Taco Bell Godzilla cup in the 90s as a teen. Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember the American Godzilla movie coming out in the 90s. John Wayne says, possessed doll horror movie. Okay, well, that's the type of movie. It was asked what type of horror movie, so that's it. Possessed doll. Renee says, God says the last shall be treated as the first, saith the Lord, Lasercorn. All right, so there are some benefits to being fashionably late, I would take it. Stephanie says, I've seen the Tingler on Svengoolie. Last Saturday. The Tingler. Very cool. Bobby says, Puppet Master is my favorite possessed doll movie. Look through some of these haunt. These are from Jack Shadow's House of Terror. I thought we had a picture of... there we go. We had the Slappy from Goosebumps. We had one of those ventriloquist dolls. I'm surprised by how many people knew Slappy. All the kids knew Slappy. Well, I shouldn't be surprised, but so maybe I'll alter Slappy this year's for this year's haunted house. That just reminded me of that when it was mentioned. Let's see here. Jason says, who would win, Grape Ape versus Bigfoot? Well, there I'd have to go with Grape Ape. Wasn't Grape Ape pretty huge? Like a little King Kong or Mighty Joe Young, if I remember right. Or is Grape Ape just too friendly? I don't know. Well, what's Bigfoot's temperament? You know, there are accounts of him throwing boulders at loggers, their cabins and stuff, so I don't know. Maybe maybe he's mean. Maybe they're just like people. Some are nice, some not so nice. Some are downright jerks. Bobby says, recently saw that Frankenstein movie with Potter and the guy from Split. I loved it. Renee says, where's Paul? You know, that's a good question. I think he... Did he text me? Let me see if he texted me. Maybe not. Oh, yes. Okay. Okay, he says he had a little incident this morning. I'll not go into details because I don't know how much I'm at liberty to share. But, I mean, he's okay. I just... he's watching Manos. Big shock there, Paul, when if you're watching this later. And drinking Loco to kill the pain. Okay, had a little mishap. For Loco. Okay. All right, so Paul is overall he's doing well, and was thinking about the show and all of you tonight, I'm sure. So hope that you have a speedy recovery there from your mishap, and but like I said, he says that he's doing fine, so wishes he could be here with us tonight. Daniel says, did you know in the scene where Carol Ann's mom was found in the mud pit and the film crew used real skeletons for the scene? I have heard that. I have heard that, yeah. That makes it all the more creepy, doesn't it? Renee says, I wonder if all those old Sega, Genesis, and Nintendo NES are on PS5, PlayStation 5 somehow. Does anybody know? I don't know. But, you know what I've been wanting to get? I actually bought this once, Abe and I. We bought one of those old replica Atari 2600s. Remember the old ones? Almost looked like they had wooden paneling as the decor. Or was that something else I'm thinking of? But the old one nonetheless. I don't remember what the actual unit looked like color wise, but I remember games like we bought one of those replicas and then I lost it. We've just been through so much and moves and whatnot. But I would love to get something like that where I can play those old games like Space Invaders and Pitfall. Remember Pitfall and all those? Now those are a little bit more my speed. So I'm apparently very easy to entertain. John Wayne says, Frankenstein versus Bigfoot. Maybe my next film. I like the idea. All right. You'll have to let us know if you choose to do that. If you choose to tackle that topic of Titan monsters battling it out. Bobby says, nothing can top Harry and the Hendersons, I think, is why no others have come out, really. Yeah, that was pretty amazing for its time. Well, actually, even now though, the costume, I know it had a little bit of a friendly approach to the costume and the design, a little bit of a comedic look to it. But look at what that was so awesome. You know what? The only thing that I guess would come close to that is messing with Sasquatch. Remember the beef jerky commercials? Those costumes were pretty good too. But yeah, Harry and the Hendersons. In fact, I always think of Harry and the Hendersons Bigfoot when I see those. So that one had a little bit, more menacing, realistic looking face. All right, some exchanges back and forth. Let's see. I'm seeing a lot of video game titles that time. I maybe some of them like God of War. I've heard of those, but I've certainly never played them. Laser says, want to know what makes me sad? When I was a kid, my parents bought both Soundwave and Jetfire Transformers. I now have no idea where they are. Well, I don't know. Maybe they're in. Hopefully, they're still in your childhood home. Maybe one of these days they'll turn up. Jason says, "I love the drive-in theater sign in the background." Yeah, we were just talking, and somebody had mentioned drive-ins, so I thought, hold that thought, and that's all it took. I do think it looks pretty cool there, though. John Wayne says, no Bonehead this week? Nope, I haven't seen Bonehead this week. So we're missing Bonehead and Paul and... Let's see. Brad says, how are things coming along with the haunted houses at the Cranberry Mall, Brad? The haunted house is... Like I say, the witching hour. You weren't here at the beginning. I did announce that if you're in the area, if you're living close in Northwest Pennsylvania in Venango County or the surrounding counties, and you're interested in trying out the witching hour escape room, that is now open and available for booking. However, we will be opening the store. That escape room actually debuts next Friday, June 14th. So just letting you know, that's going along really. I had to mention that, Brad. I had to mention that because you made me think of the store. But Jack Shadow's House of Terror The modifications for Jack Shadow's House of Terror for 2024 will begin this month, the end of this month. So, I don't know. It's crazy. Crazy. Most people are not thinking of haunted houses and Halloween in June, but I can guarantee you haunt owners are. So, hopefully, well, already I'm having a better year at it than last year. Last year was crazy. Worked myself ragged just getting it, keeping up with it. Tom says, okay, on a work trip in New Orleans. Got to get back to it. See y'all next week. Don't forget to watch the Starship Test Flight 4 on Thursday. All right, Tom. Well, thanks for joining us. And don't forget the Starship Test Flight 4 on Thursday. All right. D says, Slappy, am I that far behind? So Tom probably left, let's see, 2045. Yeah. Oh, 2023. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yep. Yep. I'm a few minutes behind. Several, if not many, minutes behind. Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys. Renee says, Lasercorn, Frankenstein versus Bigfoot. Whatever. I got my money on Chupacabra. Chupacabra. Puppet Master is a classic, John Wayne says. Stephanie says, I hope Paul's okay. He seemed to be. I did this jog my memory that I thought I'd check the text because I haven't been able to check my text since I got off work today at 4. And I told you I was at a vigil in the community park. Just got home. That's why I'm not wearing a cool monster t-shirt or something sci-fi. Let's see. Bobby says, Tales from the Hood as Puppets 2 in the last story. I don't know. Puppet Master is a classic. John Wayne says. Bobby says, Ghoulies is the only other one I know of. Jason says, Leonard Nimoy is In Search Of. I used to love that, man. I used to watch that every week, me and my brothers. The series was amazing. Great episodes on Bigfoot, Loch Ness, Dracula, Amelia Earhart, etc. Yeah. Oh man, I used to love that show. Let's see. Let me. Lasercorn says, Brian, who's your favorite Decepticon and Autobot? I would have to say, I don't know, the Transformers as well. Decepticon, would Megatron be a Decepticon? I know that sounds weird. I used to watch that stuff like in the 80s, but I don't remember it too well. He was more of a G.I. Joe guy, and remember the Rambo cartoon and Chuck Norris and his fighting commandos and Ultraman. I used to love that. Yeah. I watched Transformers, but I was not as into it as the others for some reason. I don't know why. It was, let's see. Renee says, how was the escape room today, Brian? Oh, I wasn't able to go there today. I wasn't able to go. But thank you for asking. And the witching hour will be open. I'll be running some test groups through this weekend. Zombie Apocalypse escape room commercial. All right, Renee. Renee's asking for it, so here we go.
Chiller Night Escape Experience presents Zombie Outbreak Escape Room. You and your team of scientists are sent to inspect a top-secret laboratory in a hidden military bunker. Sinister experiments have resulted in reanimating the dead. The facility is now swarming with the living dead, and you have 1 hour to escape or be overrun by zombies. Can you survive a zombie outbreak? Book your escape room appointment to find out. Book online at chillernight.com or call 814-209-8214. Gift certificates available at the store counter.
Okay, all right. I had no idea it was that far behind. I am going to, if I'm skipping your comment, and I'm sorry, and if you had something on there you really wanted to directly ask me or make a comment, please, maybe redo it. I want to try to keep the current in somewhat current. Wow, I'm really far behind. There are a lot of comments, which is great. Very cool. Let's see. Brad says, I heard the person who played Greedo died. Yeah. One of the people, the one lady who's kind of known the most, I guess, for playing Greedo in Star Wars, did die this week. So let's see. Let's see. Laser Coin says, by the way, Renee, I sent you a message a week ago on channel. YouTube kicked it out. I know you had a rough month, so I would present a sign for you. UFOs by Amplifier. Oh, okay. Let's see. Megatron and Sunstreak, PBR, answered the favorite Decepticon and Autobot. All right. So, I'm sorry I wasn't very helpful with that one, or was I? Let's see. Jason says, I loved Robotech more than the Transformers. I remember watching Robotech. And I'd probably say the same with that. But I don't. But I don't know any of the characters. I don't remember that. But I did enjoy watching that. Renee says, Bobby, I really believe extraterrestrial aliens showed up in Jaws, and then Steven Spielberg saw that and got the inspiration for Close Encounters of the Third Kind. What? Is there a story of that? Maybe that was a comment that I had to scroll past. But where on the water that they see something like a craft on the water? That'd be kind of cool. Jason says, I think of Tony Todd every time I hear that commercial. I love it. Yeah. I never thought of Tony Todd. I was always thinking Rod Serling. That sounds like Rod Serling. As soon as you said Tony Todd, I was like, yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Hear Tony in there. Bobby says, just saw the Jaws ones, both crazy looking. Did they have a picture? I'm sorry, you guys probably already explained this, and here I am backtracking, but I am trying to kind of keep up with. Bobby says, in KCMO we have some cool multi-level haunted houses in old abandoned warehouses. I've always loved haunted houses, just always had a love for them. Just then when I got a chance back in 2006, I opened up my first one, and just have been a haunter ever since. There have been a few years since 2006 that I wasn't able to, but for the most part, I've been at it pretty regularly. John Wayne says, when I had finished filming, I was explored the rest of the abandoned house. When I was in the basement, I heard a loud banging from upstairs. I quickly rushed upstairs, but there was no one. Okay. And so far, he doesn't have a finished title for his horror movie that he's doing. Okay. Bobby says, both cases, Rio Grande and Jaws, in the sky, like a UFO comet. Huh. I hadn't heard of any of that. That's pretty neat. Renee says, Brian, watch the movie Jaws. The scene where they're on the boat in the ocean. Look up in the sky. You'll see colored lights. They're UFOs. But everybody in the movie theater kept saying they're just a 9-year-old little kid. But with the magic of YouTube, I watched it over and over and over again, and I still say it's UFOs in the Jaws movie. Huh. I'm guessing too that you could probably go onto YouTube and maybe put down UFOs in Jaws or something like descriptive like that, and it probably pull right up. Interesting. Brad says, I saw the Resident 4 Evil remake video game on YouTube. It looks really cool in their real engine graphics. Interesting. Yeah, I love that game. I'm talking like even like when the first movie or the first game came out in the 90s for Resident Evil. A buddy of mine came over and he brought his PlayStation, and I'd never seen a PlayStation before. He brought it over, and he brought some games, and he brought this Resident Evil one, something called Resident Evil. I'm like, what the heck is that? So you're gonna like it, trust me, because he knew I love that stuff. So started playing it, and man, I was hooked. I had to go out and get a PlayStation. I didn't even play video games, but I went out and got a PlayStation and bought Resident Evil just for that. No, it wasn't Resident. It wasn't the first Resident Evil. It was Resident Evil 2. And then I had to go out and I found a copy of the first one. So I love those two. I got the third one too, but I'd say I enjoyed the first two better. Let's see. Let's see. Yep, exactly. Bonbons, red. What are we talking about here? Hot dogs at the movie concession stands, Bobby. Oh, Renee's talking about. For the record, oh, Laser Queen says, for the record, I love Robotech. Raisinets and goobers, Renee said. What do you guys are talking about old movie snacks? That was the best, wasn't it? Remember, going to the drive. We've talked about the drive-in theaters. We were just mentioning that last week. I remember saying that the last time I had been to a drive-in theater was in the 70s. The last time I've been to a drive-in theater. I can only imagine how much more progressed they've become, I would think, or at least in the method of hearing the movie. The audio back then, if you're my age or older, you would know this. You had the speaker, metallic speaker that you set on in your window. It was hooked up to the post, and that's how you heard the movie. Now, I'm told. Now, I mean, this could have been back from like in the 80s for all I know. You're listening to the audio on your radio station, a radio station they have designated for that. But I will say too, Ava and I went to the movies. Now it'd be about a month ago, and in Butler, Pennsylvania, and this first time I've ever been to like a deluxe theater like this. I didn't know about this. I've heard about this stuff, but I didn't know about it. I've never been to one. Our theater at the Cranberry Mall, where I have my store, was basically the same as it was when it went in the 80s, as far as like the seats and stuff like that. So they may have updated them. I really honestly couldn't tell you. I don't know. But they didn't do anything like reclining like these ones at Butler did. I mean, we were practically laying down watching the movie, and that was pretty awesome. I had never been to anything like that before, so that was pretty cool. And you had to select your seating arrangement on, as you're getting your ticket. I thought that was strange. So I don't know what all has changed in the drive-in theaters. Maybe not much. Maybe they are, mostly like they were back in the 70s. Maybe not much has changed to kind of keep that nostalgic drive-in feeling. Maybe so. I don't know. How about you guys? Have you been to a drive-in theater in a while? Like I said, yeah, I've told my story. It's been since the 70s since I've been to one. So, let's see. Brad says it wasn't much. Resident Evil 1 wasn't much that hit it. It was Resident Evil 2 that really hit the fan. Oh, I see. Now, Resident Evil 2, Brad says, really started the zombie survival horror genre. I didn't know that, but that was my personal experience because I had seen Resident Evil 2 first, and then I went back and got the first one. Before that, I hadn't heard of Resident Evil. I didn't know what that was. Well, I didn't even know what a PlayStation was. So, Renee says, Robotech, Macross, Southern Cross, Mosquito, Megazone 23. I met Carl Masick, Robotech creator, at the Creation Con twice at Holiday in San Francisco with the cast of Star Trek. No way! Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. I know of Robotech, and the meeting the creator would be neat, but also meeting. I think the cast of Star Trek would be awesome to meet. Never met any of them. I don't go to many of these conventions and stuff, but that sounds like sounds pretty cool. Renee says 80s good times. I wholeheartedly agree with you there. Captain Harlock, Renee says. Not sure who that is. I don't remember who that is. Is that a character from Robotech? I don't know. Bobby says Denver in like 2005 was the last drive-in I went to. Okay, still quite a while ago, almost 20 years. Queen Millennia, Renee says. Stephanie says Psycho started the slasher flick, I think. Psycho, what a neat movie. I remember showing that to Ava for the first time. She enjoyed it. What a neat movie. And you know, recently, now if you watch every once in a while, if you watch Chiller Night Theater every Saturday night on Stream TV, Jack Shadow has recently shown. In fact, just last Saturday, one of the lineups, because they play 4. Stream TV plays 4 Chiller Night Theater episodes every Saturday night into Sunday morning. So, beginning at 9 p.m. Well, City of the Dead was one of those in the 4-movie lineup. So, I say that because City of the Dead had some elements to it that were very, very similar to Psycho. You know, it wasn't real common at the time to see like what you believe to be the main star die like maybe a third of the way through. Maybe it was halfway through. I don't really recall, but that was shocking. Didn't expect your audience didn't expect that in Psycho, and they didn't expect that in City of the Dead. So there's my 2 cents. I just thought I would say that because that does have a similarity there. John Wayne says, what has changed most about the drive-in cinema is that today's cars have smaller back seats and less chrome. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Well, that is a fact, huh? Renee says, Lasercorn, 70s, 80s, 90s. Yeah, I guess the 70s and 80s are more, real near and dear to me. Anime, Brian. Oh, okay. I've seen some of that. Again, now that's not something that I would hold a very interesting conversation about, me personally, because I've not seen much of it. I know some people are really, really into that. A lot of people are, actually. Lisa says, God, I miss the 90s. It would be the 80s for me, I'd have to say. And 70s also, to be honest. Al says, today's drive-ins, you listen to the movie through your car's radio. Okay, that's what I had heard. Bobby says, I miss Bonkers candy. Bobby also says, comic books made me eat it. Oh, yeah. The old comics. Remember all the stuff they'd have in there. Okay, Bonkers candy. But and then they have all the little gimmick products you could buy. Your X-ray vision glasses, and the smoke. From you're supposed to remember the magic trick. The magician smoke from the fingertips, and oh man, they had you hook, line, and sinker as a kid looking at all that stuff. Like, wow, that's amazing. Or a life-size Frankenstein's monster I could put on my wall or my door. Gosh, that stuff does kind of take me back. Yep. Or sea monkeys. Remember the sea monkey? Yeah, Bobby, you got to remember the sea monkey. I know you do. If you're bringing up bonkers candy, uh, Bobby says I've created a home arcade to relive the late '80s in my home. I'll have to show a picture of, we have one of these stand-up arcade games, and it's not like it's the old like original Pac-Man or Space Invaders, although I would love to have one of those. It's one of these newer ones, which is probably, it might be better technical wise, like if you needed a replacement parts or something. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's not an issue, um, but I would love to have. I would love to have like Space Invaders. Again, I'm just fixated on that was my favorite game, because that was like the first game that I remember playing back in the '70s was Space Invaders. So, just love to have that again. I do enjoy that game. As I mentioned earlier, I am easily entertained, and so. But I'll have to put a picture up here next week. I'll try to remember. You can kind of see in our house. Ava's taking a picture of me playing it. Bobby says, "Buy them broken and fix them is the only way if you're not rich." Oh, I would be in trouble because I don't know how to fix them. So they'd probably just be sitting there, just taking up space. Liz says, "By the way, that shirt looks awesome on you, Brian." Ah, thank you. I didn't really have time to put on one of my more, I guess traditionally I put on a science fiction or superhero or monster T-shirt to kind of fit the atmosphere, the feel of the show. And I had just come from a vigil in the community. They had one for our mayor had passed away Saturday, and I went to that, and I just got back like minutes as I just got back and was typing stuff in here just to get started in time. So really didn't have a topic or even time to but so thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad that I'm glad you feel that way. So that's cool. I appreciate that. John Wayne says, of all the movies ever made, which would you like to see a Jack Shadow Chiller Night episode of? Of all the movies ever made, which would you like to see a Jack Shadow Chiller Night episode of? You know which one just popped into my mind? Whether it's the definitive best movie that I would ever think of, but I'm just saying because I could sit here and I would, if I really started, I'm going to say the movie Sleepy Hollow. Even though that's not normally what we talk about with like the Hammer horror movies and Universals, but the Sleepy Hollow, especially like around Halloween, obviously, but that to me is such a fun horror movie to watch, because that Tim Burton surreal look actually works so well with that movie. I was a little weird, like I thought a little, it seemed a little strange at first with Batman, that type of surreal, not knowing really which time era they're going with here, but it actually worked out for Batman too. But I'm saying, I was just getting the images in my head when I was reading the question about, the jack-o'-lanterns at the beginning, and just, I don't know, everything about that movie was just had the right atmosphere for a chiller night. So I would love to do that movie for a Chiller Night Theater episode. And I know Jack Shadow would have a lot of fun. Where is Jack? There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Or whatever he is. He'll go with the last two, the myth and the legend at least. But yeah, you can watch Jack Shadow every Saturday night, hosting Chiller Night Theater. And again, you can watch it on Stream TV at streammedia.tv. Streammedia.tv. It's every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So check it out. And Bobby says, I got a Space Invaders for $50 Facebook Marketplace. What? What? Did you really? Is your friend, sometimes people just want it gone. Others want $2,000. Holy cow, what a deal. I take it, I'm guessing that's one of those that you had to repair or to fix. I can't imagine you getting a complete Space Invaders for $50 on Facebook Marketplace. That is I mean, whether it was functioning or not, that's still a great, great catch. Patty says, sea monkeys are brine shrimp, right? And you can buy them at pet shops. They are sold as food for fish and turtles. I know. And it was like, you know, wait a minute. They're supposed to look like the little funny-looking humanoids with the, you know, things sticking out of their head and little webbed hands and feet. They don't look like them at all. I go, yeah, brine shrimp. There was a documentary, I think. I remember watching something about sea monkeys. I don't know. Maybe it's on YouTube. I watched something on that. PBR says, Space Invaders and Galaga were my games. I think we have Galaga on that game. That stand-up one I was talking about. I finished all 256 stages of Galaga back when I was young. Oh, is that right? Wow. Patty says, sorry, missed most of the show. We just had a rush for video games, computers, and phone cases here at Walmart for the last 45 minutes. Ah! Well, thank you, nonetheless, Patty. I just appreciate you, you getting on when you can. It was nice. It's nice, always nice when you join us. Bobby says, I'm 43, so I love it all. But Pit Fighter and Street Fighter, yeah, MK are all my favorites. Okay, all right. I remember those. I didn't have those, but I remember those. I'm aware of them. My cousin had it, so I have played it a couple times. The Street Fighter one, anyways. Renee says, oh, sorry, my condolences on your vigil. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm like I said in the beginning, it was of our mayor of Harrisville, and like I said, just a really great guy. He's going to be missed. He was very, very supportive and helpful when we had the haunted house running here in Harrisville. In fact, he was in the room with Jack Shadow every night. He would show up to, and other than in addition to helping, you know, whenever he'd walk over, drive over, and see me over there working, he'd lend a hand. He also would be in the first room. He was in the room with Jack Shadow, but he'd be hidden behind a curtain, and he would be the one that opens and closes the door to the guests when they come in the room. So it's just, yeah, he's going to be missed, but I appreciate that. Oh my goodness, wow, there's so many comments, and it is 8:59. I am sorry, folks, that I didn't get to a lot of these tonight, but I feel so good to know that you guys are participating that much. And I know these are not all directed to me, but as I'm reading down through them, you know, some of them you're going back and forth to each other, which is, I love that. So thank you for joining me and each other, as I say every week, because I know it's all a big chiller community when we get on here. So again, thank you, everybody, and I hope that we've brightened your hour a little bit if you were maybe feeling down, as some of you may have been, and hope that you get a chance to check us out next week. Maybe we'll have a topic. Probably won't, because I'm really swamped trying to get this escape room open to the public by next Friday. So, but come on in. We'll have a chiller chat again. We'll just chat about anything. I love the idea of Frankenstein versus Bigfoot. I love that, for example. But so, thanks again, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good chiller night, and we'll see you next week.